What's going on, guys? Jesse here. Welcome back again. I've got a special guest right here. His name is
Randyl Rupar.
Randyl Rupar. So we're going to be talking about a number of issues here, basically on the Big Island, but not just on the Big Island, but also global as well. Got a specialist when it comes to.
Well, I'm not going to call myself a specialist. What I'm going to be calling myself is a concerned citizen of our beloved Big Island of Hawaii. And from my perspective, I moved here because this place is paradise, and we need to keep it paradise. And unfortunately, with what's going on with our consumption, and really it's more or less more than a consumption, it's an addiction that we have to plastics and what we do with the plastics. And I've become really aware of it actually most of my life. I started way back when I was 20 to become aware of the foods that I ate and other types of things. But as life goes on, you see things change. And some of the changes are really wonderful and really good. I grew up in Southern California, and at one time in the 70s, there was so much smog in the LA basin that you couldn't see anymore. And that's when people started to say, hey, we got to breathe. So what can we do? So what went on was that there was legislation for cars, and cars had to have various types of emission standards. And that's what started it. So now you can actually go to LA and really see what's going on there. And that's wonderful. So I've learned that people can truly make a difference. It's just that we have to believe that we can. Now the whole thing with recycling, it starts to me first, reduce, reuse, and recycle. And when we purchase something, it's up to us. We vote with our dollars. And this world, you just follow the money. And you know what's going to be happening. And in regards to politics, it's really a difficult scene because whoever really has the most money usually wins.
Unfortunately, that is the case.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be people that are aware and conscious and concerned and really want to put that passion into what we believe in. And now's the time of extreme change. I mean, it's really happening. And I mean, it's the matrix. You're going to take the blue pill or the red pill. Which one do you want to take? It's up to, we have free choice. And from my perspective, I vote with my money and I vote with what's on my plate.
Yep, I totally agree with you on that one. We're all given a choice every single day as to what to do, and this is something that I talk about a lot, where we have to sacrifice something every single day in order to attain anything. We have to give up something in order to get something. And I feel that right now it's been completely off to one side. I'm not telling people to give up all the comforts that you have in your life right now. I'm just saying that, hey, the comforts in your life that you have right now are a direct reflection of what you have chosen to sacrifice. The whole thing around money, the reason why you have, or you may have a lot of money, is because you've sacrificed your time for that.
That's
and
right
now, the overall comfort and profit, in order to get that, what's being sacrificed right now is the environment. And
Yes.
that's where I feel there's a huge issue.
Well, environment, I mean, first off, I just want to say that I feel so blessed and so graced to be able to be here at this beautiful sanctuary, the Banyan Tree Sanctuary, which is one of the finest places, I think, in Hawaii if you're going to come for a retreat. And I'm really happy that they're adopting more of a vegan type of approach to what they do, which to me is, once again, another choice. And from my perspective, if I don't have to harm anything, why should I? And I really feel and believe, and I'm very, very passionate about the fact that we have such a symphony of plant-based foods that we can choose from. Whereas we've been so programmed by our culture, by our society, that you've got to have the protein, you've got to have this, you've got to have that. Well, the way that I look at it is that people who eat animal products are getting secondhand protein. Because where do the animals get it from? They get it from the plants. The plants have all the amino acids, all the carbohydrates, all of the things that are necessary to sustain life. And here we are going to that program to where milk makes a body good. And that, when you look at milk or you look at cheese, I mean, they're filled with casomorphines. They get you high. And people don't realize that's why, I mean, meat is a difficult thing to get away from, craving, but cheese is worse because it does have a morphine type substance that goes into your brain and gives you that like, wow, I feel good. But then what is the sacrifice for me feeling good? If you've ever been to a dairy and you know what the dairy industry is all about, it's really an industry that takes advantage of females. If you really are into protecting the aspect of femininity, go to a dairy and see how they treat the female cows. A female cow, in order to give milk, has to be pregnant. She has to have a baby. That baby comes. Literally, that baby is taken away in one day. One day. That mother instinct of that dairy cow is totally ripped from that DNA of wanting to be with that baby calf. The baby calf wants to have its mother. The baby calf needs that colostrum. If it doesn't get colostrum within 48 hours, it'll die. So what do? Take the baby away. They give it this colostrum type of dry food milk, and they have to feed that baby cow at least 3 to 4 times a day. And they have to keep it in a little cage to where these baby cows don't even know they can walk.
Yeah, it's definitely a heavy topic. When you start getting into it, it's I feel it's an industry that's kind of been kept behind closed doors for a long time, and it hasn't been until documentaries like Cowspiracy and What the Health have come out that have really brought this industry that has been behind closed doors out into the light. Like, when did you first start becoming aware of this?
Well, my story is when I was 20, I took myself to Maui. And I fasted on the land for 30 days. I read a book called Autobiography of a Yogi, which is Paramahansa Yogananda's book. And I was born and raised a Catholic, and it was very unique because, in Catholicism they would teach you to be a good person, and to be and I went to Catholic school and had that programming, but mine was pretty good. I don't believe that I'm a recovering Catholic, but when I read Autobiography of a Yogi, Yogananda's book was filled with living saints. And I thought, now that's what I want to be. I don't want to have to be dead for 100 years and then have have a communal come and say, oh yeah, this person did really good, so we're going to canonize them. I thought that was the most ridiculous thing in the whole world. I mean, you know, that's crazy. And here's Yogananda with all these living saints. With, you know, he had a guru that says, you're not going to go to the Himalayas and meditate all day long. You're going to America, and you're going to teach people something. And Yogananda was just saying, I don't know how to do that. I can hardly even speak English. And he went. And he went in the 20s. Fortunately, he went in the 20s. And he was accepted there, which was really cool. Everybody thought, wow, who is this guy? Right? So they had him go around and do lectures and all different types of things. And it was cool. But he interviewed people. He was so highly intelligent. He did interviews with people like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Teresa Newman. You ever heard of her?
No, I haven't.
Teresa Newman was a Catholic nun, and she lived off the daily Eucharist every day. This woman did not eat. She didn't drink water. She didn't do anything like that, and thought it was very, very silly that people had to eat. And she was now she's a saint, Saint Teresa Newman. But, you know, he met up with all of these people, and intellectually was on their level, and spiritually he was on their level. And so to me, he's been a real inspiration in regards to living a life of passion and compassion, and yet being extremely strong while you're doing it. You know, having that balance. I mean, I want to have strength and courage, but I want it to be balanced with compassion. And so, because it's my choice, I have free will, and as I said, I can choose what I want. I can know that my money is going to go here rather than over there. I can choose to buy organic foods because, to me, I don't want to get poisoned, nor do I want our beautiful planet to be poisoned. You know, to me, it's simple logic. If I'm going to kill something, literally kill something, how can it not kill me?
Yeah, it's something that I follow with my current way of eating, and any of my viewers on my channel will probably understand this. But it's about, I mean, I take a look at things at a very simple level as alkaline and acid, and as what's the saying again? As above, so below.
Yep.
Yeah. So if the ocean right now, with its acidity, is showing effects of marine life dying. The coral is dying. Well, I mean, fish are being overfished, so that's a problem right there. But if marine life cannot be sustained in a acidic environment, how is it that our bodies are able to maintain itself in that acidic environment as well? It's going to show some side effects. So it's all about bringing the body into more of an alkaline state, and through that, the body will naturally heal itself, and so will the planet as well. So I see the connection you're making there about choosing to buy organic in a way that it doesn't poison the body, but by turning the body more alkaline, the alkaline stuff that you will be throwing back into nature will also help bring nature back into an alkaline rich state. So I really understand that the whole thing you were talking about was just balance.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I'm sure you'd agree with me on this one, but there's a huge imbalance right now, not just in terms of well, we just talked about plastic, and we've talked about food, but it's just overall in general, I feel there's a huge imbalance right now that's happening all over the planet.
Well, and what's fascinating about it is that, you know, we have leaders, and I'm not going to name names, but the thing is that you all know out there who our leaders are, and yet I want to look at it, I want to know the negative, and I want to choose the positive.
Knowing the light and the shadow.
Exactly, because, you know, it's like, you know, out of the darkness and into the light. and I'm only as strong as my greatest weakness. So if I have weaknesses, the only way I know how strong I am, I got to take myself there. I can't run away from my shadow side. I have to embrace it. I've got to, it's interesting because being born and raised a Catholic was very fascinating because I collected these really beautiful holy cards from Italy, and they had like 18 karat gold borders, and they were like just you know, and I was and in one drawer I had all of these holy cards that were, you know, Catholic saints, and then another one I had baseball cards, you know, so like there was my balance, right? And one of the ones that I really resonated with was Saint George slaying the dragon. And I don't know if you've ever seen that, but like it's, you know, George on this mighty steed with his lance, you know, going after the dragon, and the dragon is like this. And I had the opportunity to actually see that, right? And I sat in front of it, and I really kind of meditated on it, like, what does this mean? You know, who is and was St. George, and what is the metaphor of this? And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to slay my dragon. I need my dragon sometimes. My dragon, I get chicken skin when I think about this, is that my dragon at times in my life got to come out and roar and just spit out fire and be real about how and who we are. So my just visualization of that is that I'm going to trade my lance in for a harp. And I'm going to play the harp to the dragon, so the dragon can go to sleep. But when I need that dragon, dragon's there.
It kind of reminds me of, have you heard of the 4 archetypes?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the king, warrior, magician, lover. I mean, that dragon is the archetype of the warrior. You cannot really survive without the warrior energy. You need to have that energy sometimes where you just need to get shit done. But to always be on that energy is exhausting. There needs to be that, once again, balance of just putting that dragon or the warrior down to sleep for now, and then allowing the other archetype of, let's say, the wizard, which allows things to flow, create the magic, allows things to manifest. The lover, to be able to bring that kind of loving energy into any environment that you want to. Also, the king with its wisdom. Those are all archetypes that are essential, and you can't have just one.
You must have it all.
You must have it all.
You know, to me, that's just like Kundalini rising. I just can't be stuck here or here or here.
Yeah.
Because if I am, I'm not a whole human being. If I get the flow going, the heart chakra is the thing that like balances it out. But I can be stuck in my head. I can be stuck in my lower chakras, or I can be stuck in my heart.
Yeah.
And they're all gateways, and they all really need to resonate. And in regards to, you know, to those 4 archetypes, we really must appreciate that we have all 4 of those, but yet not get lost in each one, because we can get lost. I mean, you know, the warrior can just be, you know, the guy that just runs around, and if you give him, you know, money, he'll just go and kill anybody, right? But the true warrior has a passion for freedom. And that passion for freedom is so strong and so powerful that warrior will sacrifice his self for others. That's what the warrior's all about.
Yeah, it's all about the responsibility of the sword, because a sword is a powerful, powerful weapon, not just in terms of the physical, but also as a symbol. It is a powerful, powerful weapon. And the purpose of the sword is not to always just go and slay and just to swing around. The sword, I mean, any man who is handed a sword, is passed down the sword, is given the responsibility to know when to wield it, when to use it. And that is where I feel like the powers that be that are out there right now who are making up all the decisions, they've got the sword, and I feel they are just saying, well, this is my power right here, and I will swing it wherever way I want to swing it.
Yeah.
And it really is unfortunate, because once again I feel like that is coming at a cost. Getting back to that, can't have one thing without sacrificing another. It's coming at the cost, a huge cost of so many different areas.
Yeah. Well, and basically, I mean, everything to me has a price, even people.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating, because I've attempted to be whatever a good man is supposed to be, but then as I look out beyond myself, beyond my shadow, beyond all those things, is that I feel that in a lot of ways, we have this aspect of what is my worth, what is my self-worth, and what am I willing at, sacrifice is one thing, but the thing is that you can't fall into the sacrificial lamb. You've got to be this being that is willing to give of themselves, but yet do it from a sense of honor and integrity, not in a sense of, well, I gave this to you, so you owe me, like the old quid pro quo. I mean, which is happening right now, which is so simple in regards to logic.
I
mean,
gave all this to you. Now it's your turn to give back.
Well, and that's the whole parental thing, which is just really wild. But the bottom line to me is that when we truly are within our own power, our own king, our own magician, our own lover, our own sense of what a warrior is, we become that matrix of Kundalini rising. And we can truly stand straight and tall and say, this is what I'm about. Or not even have to say it, just be it. And allow that energy.
Yeah.
Because energy's real. I mean, I'll meet people and I won't even have to talk to them. But I will know that some people I'll get a knee jerk from, and other people I'll go, hey brother, so nice to meet you and hang out with you.
Yeah.
And others it's like, hi.
Yeah. It's like an instinctive knowing, like you kind of vibe off of people that you meet, and I'm sure you've had that, as you've had similar experiences as well, where you go into a room and without knowing why, you just click with people. You click with some people, and with other people you just don't click whatsoever, no matter what you may try or do. Hey, we got our mascot back. Went away for a little bit, decided to come back in frame. So what I want to kind of transition into, because I mean we're talking about being, what I get is you're talking about kind of be more in integrity with yourself in a way. It's
well, the thing is all about choice.
Yeah.
And right now, unfortunately, choices are very narrow. And I'm talking about in regards to choices concerning foods and food products. Because most food products are wrapped in plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay? So what do we do about that? The thing is that I can bitch and moan and complain about it.
Yeah.
But what can I do? I mean, can I maybe go to a store and say, hey, I really like what you're selling there, and I will buy it, and I will probably continue to buy it, but did you ever think about maybe having a reusable or true recyclable type of packaging for this, to where number one, it's really hip now to have things that are, well, it's good for the planet, right? Or it's really cool to say, well, I'm vegan, or I'm gluten free, it's like
It's become a fad.
right, yeah, and that unfortunately fads do sell, and they are part of that genre that you can go into. Well, like right now, I'm vice president of Recycle Hawaii here on Big Island.
Told you I had a special guest.
And what I want to do is that, you may not be aware of this, but Costco stores all over the United States, they sell the most quantity of organic products in the United States. The most.
That I did not know.
Yes, Costco does.
Costco.
Yes. So what I want to do is that I want to go in here to the islands, be a representative of Recycle Hawaii, and say, isn't it time that maybe, you have all these things in bulk, maybe you could sell in bulk containers and give people some kind of credit if they brought their own containers for this. And also plastics now. I mean, all these things are, it used to be ones and twos that you could take back and recycle. Now we can't do that. Now we can't do cans. Now we can't do paper.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on with this? We have to do something. We've got to, and now they're talking about, well, let's incinerate it. I mean, what does that do to plastic consumption? That just ups it.
Yeah.
That just makes it worse.
Yeah, I feel like all that is doing is actually taking care of the actual symptom, but not taking care of the cause.
It's an aspirin.
Yeah,
Right.
it is. I mean, and that is essentially how the whole system runs now. Is we are taking a look at the symptom of what is going on right now, which is there's too much plastic. Bottom line, only 91% of plastic doesn't actually get recycled. It gets sent overseas, and that's where it stays. In many countries who are so diligent about separating their trash, before getting it shipped out, it gets bundled in together all in the same place to get shipped out. What's the point in separating if that's the case?
Well, and also, those third world countries, of which China was one, they are not accepting our trash any longer.
So is that the reason why you think that Hawaii has decided to just stop the recycling?
That is the reason.
That is the reason.
Because these other countries are not taking our trash anymore. That's why the onus of responsibility is on us. I mean, look, we got all these people, Tesla and all these other people that are doing SpaceX and all these things. What is so difficult about creating products that are truly good for the planet? We can get our food in it. We can do something with it, after the fact. And yet, what are we doing? Nothing. And so we must be present. We must be mindful. And when I go to the store, I mean, granted, I went to the store today. I bought stuff wrapped in plastic, and it irks me. But what can I do? I mean, if I want to live organically, I grow as much as I possibly can, but I can't grow everything. And yet, I want to be able to be an example. And it upsets me that I want to be a prime example of what I believe in, but yet there's another part of me, that little reptilian brain of mine, is going, you're really an asshole.
Don't we all have that voice inside? I got one. I'm the exact same way. Being a raw vegan now, well, primarily raw vegan for the past 3.5 years, I've seen a dramatic reduction in my overall plastic waste. I've been able to drop it down to something like 95%. I've been able to drop it down. That said, there's still that 5% that's there. I claim to be primarily raw vegan. I went to Island Naturals, an organic supermarket here in Hawaii, and I got a vegan pumpkin chocolate chip muffin. Yes, I got one of those, and it was wrapped in plastic. It's like unless we all decide to move away from cities and live in the jungle and live with no technology whatsoever, I feel like there is no getting away from this 100%, because this is the way that the society, I feel, is created, and this is the way, through clever marketing, people have been hypnotized into buying these products.
Right.
It's all clever marketing. The reason why all this is happening, and so I love what you're doing about going to big places like Costco and really being a part of really changing the whole system.
Well, we are the change. I mean, the great thing is that we are the ones that we've been waiting for, and if not us, then who? I mean, it's like when I'm at home. I'll go and I have some housemates at home, and I'll see stuff in the sink, and it's like there's a part of me that knee jerks and go, well, they're supposed to do that, and then there's that other part of me that just says wash it, and tell them.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to sit there and look at it and get angry.
Yeah.
Because I just want to. You got to have solutions to the problems, and there's problems, but wherever there's a problem, there's always a solution. That's our polarity. Everything's a polarity. I mean, good and evil. It's all a polarity. Dark, light. You can't have the dark without the light. You can't have the light without the darkness. I mean, that's what it's all about. And it's us believing. And that's the other thing, is that belief systems are so unique, because belief systems are all BS. They're all bullshit. And what we need to do is create a belief system that is good for us, good for the planet, good for humanity, good for the animals, good for the plants, good for the minerals, good for all of the things that we share this beautiful, lovely place with. And if you go on the internet, you see the news, the world is shifting, really, really shifting. Of course, we have these oligarchs, but they're going to die just like the dairy industry, just like the beef industry, just like all of these, the meat industries. They're dead, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
They're dead.
Yeah.
So we have to be that example. And the thing is that, you were talking about a sword, which I feel is a great analogy. If you are a Zen warrior and you are really that sense of a warring being, the true warrior never has to pull the blade out of the scabbard. It remains there.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole martial arts analogy, where the end goal of mastering the martial art is getting to the point where you don't need to use it.
Yeah,
it's just the energy that gets given out is enough to be able to deter anyone from wanting to cause anything with you to begin with.
Right. Or intuitively.
Yeah.
I remember reading a Don Juan. You remember the Don Juan? Maybe it was Carlos Castaneda. He wrote about Don Juan, and Don Juan was a shaman in Mexico, and he would ask Don Juan questions, and one time he said, "Well, what if you were going down a road and there were these bandits that were waiting for you. How would you handle that? You know what Don once said? I wouldn't be there in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's our intuition.
Yeah.
That's our knowingness.
Yeah.
And we must know that we're on the right path, doing the right thing with the right people, and being that example of what it is to be a person that really does believe in doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's what I talk about a lot is being a part of something that is bigger than yourself, because up until quite recently, even for me, I was very much concerned with just me and what I wanted to do, and that's where all my focus was. But now that I'm moving over to Japan, and I've really kind of feel like I've discovered somewhat of a purpose. I realized that my purpose is focused around something that's completely outside of me. It has nothing to do with me. I'm focusing on.
Yet it has everything to do with it.
Exactly, yeah,
Right?
but it's a roundabout way of coming. It's
yes.
about I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on creating a kind of environment where kids who are going to be growing up, they can still enjoy this, where they can still go out into the ocean and swim with these creatures, who can go out into nature and still see all of this growing, who can have clean air and clean water. That's my focus right now. And I mean, I get goosebumps talking about this, because I feel like this is what finding a purpose, a real purpose in life is about being a part of something that is bigger than yourself. And I feel as though it's the same thing with what's going on with the current plastic situation, is if we took a step outside of just our own needs, and people who are going to Costco and saying, I want this food, to I want this food, but what is this going to do after? What is this going to do to my surroundings? If people broaden their horizons and are able to see the decisions that are made every single day, how they are impacting others, not just within the direct vicinity of your town that you may be living in, but what about, like we just talked about, Southeast Asian countries, where we have been, the States, I think, is what, number one or number two in trash export in the world. And so our lifestyle has a direct impact on these Southeast Asian countries. And these Southeast Asian countries who have now refused to accept our trash, we can't blame them for that, because we are part of the problem. We created this problem in the first place. We just weren't aware of the fact that it was being created, because like the whole dairy industry, meat industry, it was going on behind closed doors. So with all this information coming out now, it comes back to full circle talking about choice.
Yes.
And what choices are we going to make from now on, and what are we willing to sacrifice? Because we cannot, I feel we cannot see the way we are living right now as a truly quote unquote sustainable way. If it was sustainable, I don't feel like we'd be seeing the repercussions of the actions that we have been taking.
Well, and that's the unique part about it, is that we, as you said, we are seeing the acidification of the oceans, and the oceans are being acidified because of the huge runoff from all of the poisons and the fertilizers and all of that runs into the ocean and kills everything. And then plus, the overfishing, I mean that's a huge thing. It's it's really sad that does go on, but it is. And so, we really need to be able to just realize that, I can make a tuna sandwich with tofu or with tempeh or and all of these other things, and You know, I was once at this conference that was a sustainability conference, and they had a guy, I can't remember where he was from. He was from StarKist or one of those big companies, and everybody was there that were saying we want, you know, dolphin-free tuna and things like that, and you know, there's a bycatch, so you can, you know, and the bycatch is usually maybe 80 times more than what you're trying to catch, and so it's, you know, it's just absurd. And you know what this man said? He said, if you people are really so interested in dolphins and you want dolphin-safe tuna, don't buy tuna. And I thought, no, there's a realist, right?
Boom, kind of laying it out. Just,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a guy, right? Saying,
Yeah.
you know, if you really want dolphin-safe tuna, don't buy our tuna. And you will find that more than likely, as the years and decades tick by,
Yeah.
and this was decades ago,
Yeah.
that we probably won't have any tuna left. And tuna, you know, filled with mercury. Tuna filled, bluefin tuna has been found to have, unfortunately, a lot of the radioactivity from Fukushima. And so, I mean, anybody with a clear thought process is going to say, if I eat that, I am going to probably get ill from what I'm eating. And so what are the options? And right now, I mean, when I started, there were no options. But I can walk into any supermarket right now and go to the health and natural food section, and I can see meat analogs. I can find, you know, 10 different types of nut and seed and oat milks and cheeses. And, you know, I mean, it's just like, here it is. It's happening.
Yeah, there's definitely a huge amount of options available right now in terms of the whole plant-based. I recently read an article, actually just today, about how the biggest dairy company in the United States just filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, Dean Foods.
Yeah, Dean Foods. Yeah,
Yep.
just filed for bankruptcy, and because their sales and their stocks actually dropped something like 80% because of the rise of plant-based, you know, soy milks, almond milks, coconut milks. All these plant-based milk alternatives that have been coming out. And so the movement is definitely moving towards that, and rapidly, yeah. Finally, I feel like it's really starting to pick up speed now.
Right. And Miyoko, Japanese woman who does these plant-based cheeses, she's remarkable. She was a real estate agent and then jumped into making cheeses, and she's very much the gourmet, does it right. And right now she is helping dairies to transition into something else.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're aware of it, but the big island dairy here on this island was shut down by the health department over 6 months ago, 9 months ago. And
I've been away for a year, so I did not know this.
Yeah, and we've been rescuing the cows from that dairy. We've rescued over 400 cows.
Wow.
And we have to pay for them. And you know, a lot of people don't think it's the vegan way to go and pay for a cow and then try to rehome it. You know, and we're going, you know what? I'm not going to see that cow be slaughtered. Yep. It's a Holstein cow. It's not going to, because Holsteins aren't for meat, they're for dairy. So they can only sell them for dog food or cat food.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing these fundraisers, and we've gotten a lot of money, and we've rescued 400 cows.
Yeah.
And you know, we wish that we had enough money to actually buy the dairy and, you know, make a mushroom farm out of it or something. You know.
Yeah, it's interesting how you said, oh, that's not the vegan way, because one thing that I've definitely been finding recently is people have kind of been under the impression that if something has the word vegan in front of it, that it is better than anything else. And I just want to toss out there that is not true, that just because something has the word vegan in front of it doesn't mean that it's healthier ethical, environmental, or any of that. There are just as many quote unquote vegan products out there that are also packaged in plastic, have preservatives, have all of that stuff in it. So it comes down to, once again, I feel like taking a look at the whole. And you are saving these cows from being just slaughtered, and you are taking these cows out of these tight little pens and actually allowing them to possibly move around a lot more and live free, live a lot freer.
The first 61 we rescued were in these little pens that were maybe 3 feet long, 2 feet wide. They were 2 months old. We let them out and they didn't even know they could walk. It was so sad. So sad. Seriously. And they were taken away.
It was that tight that they didn't even know how to walk.
They couldn't turn around. And they were fed, 4 or 5 times a day, the formula. And the amazing thing about that is that, it's a commodity. Those cows are just, no more respect than this statue. I mean, they're just there for one thing, and they're bred for that. And unfortunately, if they don't meet up to that, they're they're gone. And also, if you're a male cow, right? They're clocked right away. They're killed. They have no use for them. None whatsoever.
Right, yeah, because all the insemination happens manually by humans. So
well, and that's what I'm saying is
they would have no use for the males.
And they're called rape racks. I mean, literally, they're called literally rape racks, and the guys stick their hands up the anus, and then they stick this long tube with the bull semen in it, and it's. I talk to women that are feminists, and I say, if you're a real feminist, why do you eat ice cream and drink milk and eat yogurt, and also, from a nutritional standpoint, people think, that milk does the body good and for the calcium. They're proving that the milk and calcium causes osteoporosis. It's really sad.
And on top of that, we are the only species on the planet that not only drink milk after a certain period. I mean, most babies only drink milk up to a certain point. After that, they go off of milk.
Yes.
We are the only species on the planet that continues to consume not just milk, but milk of other animals. Yes. We are the only species on the planet that does that. We are not living in a real natural way at that point. And there's so much more I feel like we could go into with when it comes to the amount of harm that milk causes the body. Well, the thing I want to ask though from you is there's a certain level of reluctance from people to really take a look at this as a fact. I mean, it's one form of fact, I guess, depending on who you talk to. But there's a reluctance to take a look at this and to actually create the kind of change that is necessary to be able to have an impact. And my feeling is that, have you heard of the 0 hour?
No.
Basically, I think it's 0 hour, but it comes down to until it is something that is so blatantly obvious, people will not believe that it is actually happening. Yeah. So what do you feel is a way to be able to kind of educate these people into making these changes that are really necessary?
Well, first off, there's over, I think, almost 100 documentaries that are on shifting to a plant-based diet.
Ah.
Okay? So to me, you know, I was brought up on television,
Mm.
and that's the easiest way to sit somebody down and say, hey, watch these movies. You know, just watch the movies.
Yeah.
And entertain yourself, okay? And see, and Game Changers, I mean,
I was just going to say, yeah.
you know, I mean, Game Changers is remarkable to me because you have men like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is like the big beef man, and then you have Jackie Chan, who is like this actor that does all of his stunts. You know, he doesn't let anybody, you know, do that. Plus, he's probably broken every bone in his body, but he still does it.
Yeah.
And then you have James Cameron. I mean, you know, the awesome director who's done so many things. These guys got together. They put this documentary of people that are athletes, that are strong, wonderful, beautiful, powerful people, showing that you aren't wimpy if you choose a plant-based diet. And you know, and also they, you know, they had you know, a guy there showing, you know, I mean, they just ate one meal, and he, you know, and he showed their you know, the difference in the blood, and the ones that ate the meat and the chicken and the pork. I mean, it was filled with like this really ugly fat on the top, and there was one guy who was vegetarian, and his was clean and pure. And then they had another guy that was a urologist, and what he did is that he measured their erections at night.
Ah.
Okay, and the guys, you know, first night he just gave them all, you know, the regular stuff, measured them, and then the next night he gave just one meal, and it enhanced their erection times by like 300 to 500%.
Men, are you paying attention to this?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's real. This now is like, you know, science can be one-eyed and colorblind, but now it's coming out and it's saying, you know, hey, look at this. You know, this is what's happening. This is what we have to do. These are the game changers. And you got to realize that where did this all come from? You know, this came from the fact of like cattle. Cattle was currency.
Yeah.
The more cows, the more sheep, the more goats you had, the richer you were. So everybody thought, well, I want to be rich. So that's what they did, you know. And I mean, in the Old West, what were there? There were cattle rustlers.
Yeah.
Right? And when they got caught, they got hung, because that was something that was really, really a heinous type of crime. So what I'm saying is that we aren't in that cattle mentality anymore.
So we're shifting out of that.
We
now.
are shifting. It's a slow but sure shift. And you know what you talked about was that 0 point or whatever it was. To me, it's health and wellness. I was a former psychologist on the mainland, and I worked at a wellness clinic for cardiovascular patients. And the doc that I worked for pioneered chelation therapy, cardiovascular types of approaches like hyperbaric oxygen, and diet. And I was psychologist. I was doing my 1,500 pre-doc hours there, and it was my job to convince people that rather than go under the knife, I mean, when you go to open heart surgery, they cut you from stem to sternum. It's a horrible operation. This was not paid by insurance, so people had to have the money to come in. And it was my job to convince them that change your lifestyle, change your habits, which is deep, deep rooted, so deep that some people couldn't do it, but others can. And that's what I'm saying, is that we have this cognitive dissonance. Deep down inside, I really believe that in every person's DNA, we know what's right. I mean, one of the commandments, thou shalt not kill. We're not supposed to kill anything.
Also, it says clearly in the Bible too, is like I have given every seed bearing tree on this planet, and that shall be your food. I'm not quoting it one word for word because I don't know the Bible off the top of my head, but it clearly says in the Bible as well is that
Genesis.
Genesis was it 129? Was
Yep.
it? Yeah, Genesis 129. So we need we. I feel like we need to come back to that, and I feel like we are shifting into this new way of thinking, and it's taking some people longer to really shift into this than others because it's about habits, right? And we all know breaking habits can be quite difficult, breaking a habit.
One of the main things that you break a habit with is illness.
It's
And I read it
Yeah.
when I was in school. I read a book that was by an anthroposophical doctor, guy that followed Rudolf Steiner. And this book was amazing because it was called Blessed by Illness. And he was saying that the illness that we attract either leads us into consciousness or not.
Yeah, I can give a great example of that with my mom as well.
Yeah.
2 years ago, her thyroid went off the charts and her heart rate went up to 180 and it stayed up there for 3 days. I, at that time, thought I was going to lose her there. And I'm so grateful to her for making that shift that she needed to make then. She said clearly to me, looked straight into my eyes, this is after 1 year of me trying to convince her into a plant-based diet, and she was just not having it. She was just bucking the whole
Right.
time, and she looked at me dead in the eyes and said, "I think it's time to change the way I eat." And since then, 2 years, she's 74 years old, and she went vegan, and she's going raw vegan.
Oh, that is so
And
beautiful.
she is doing way better. She was prescribed 5 different types of medication. Since then, the doctors have taken her off of 3 of them. 2, which means it just leaves 2. And it's at the
Vegan.
point, vegan, yeah. But it's also at the point now where she is able to take a half dose of one of the 2, and she's at the point where she may even be able to get taken off of that one just through a change in diet. So I've seen these things firsthand, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of different things firsthand as well with people who have transitioned their diet.
You've been my own guinea angel.
Yeah,
You know?
and it's sad to me because one of my friends that I ended up connecting with just a few days ago, her sister is now, I don't know how many times she's been treated for cancer, and her sister asked the doctor, "What about my diet? Is there anything I need to do to change my diet?" And it sickened me to hear the response. The doctor said, "Diet has nothing to do with it." I was so close to just pulling my hair out because diet has everything to
Well,
do
you
with
have
it.
to remember that the doctors are not taught that in medical school.
No,
They are taught that sickness and disease is inevitable. The only way to treat it, not cure it, is through
Exactly.
pharmaceuticals, and they're all programmed.
And it's also preventative medicine. Like that's the whole thing about big pharma is they're there to prevent. Wasn't it that one of the heads of big pharma just came out and said that that curing illness is not good for the shareholders or something
it's
along
not.
those lines?
It's not.
It totally isn't because there's shareholders who have
Hey,
who
brother,
have stakes.
more people make a living off cancer than die from it. And so, they're,
Yeah.
and the only real treatment is lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, realistically, I do believe in a form of reincarnation and karma. And we all come in, we're all predated, and the thing is that, and I'd love to live, a long, healthy life, and because I feel that I have a lot to do with the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But the thing is that my my date may be up tomorrow, or it may be up in another 50 years. I don't know.
All of
you
us.
know. So the thing is that I just want to do what's best in the moment. I want to be here now.
Yeah.
And I really want to work and choose my friends. I want to be able to make a difference in regards to what life is all about. And also I want to have fun. You know, I don't want to, you know, you talked about sacrifice. Well, life is a balance. And we really need to balance out what we do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And within that balance, we really need to have what I feel a smile on our faces. Because you know, smiles are contagious. And I don't care whether people think I'm drunk or loaded or stoned. I want to smile because I can make a person just smile at me. And they don't even know why they're smiling. That's the contagion that I want to spread.
So kind of tying all that what you said back together about, you know, about a change in lifestyle, and really just kind of bringing that back to here on the island. Do you feel it's possible for the islands of Hawaii to, I mean, the ultimate goal would be to be zero waste? Like, do you feel it is possible for the islands to be able to build up to that?
Well, we promote agricultural festivals, and they're all zero waste events. And we do, one's coming up now, it's called the 5th annual Going Nuts for the Holidays Festival. And it's with mac nuts and coconuts. And it's all zero waste. And we have another one in February, which is also free. And it's the 14th annual Avocado Festival. And the first one that we had was on our organic farm.
Oh my God, the avocados here.
They are amazing. And then we have a mango festival coming up June 23rd. And they're all at Hawai'i, which is part of the Parks and Recreation community here. And this is something that I feel I can teach people what zero waste is.
So you feel it is possible for the
I know it's possible.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
And this island, Big Island to me is the arc of the world. We're one of the most isolated land masses. We have pure air, pure water. Now that Pele's not flowing, we've got some of the finest
Love you, Pele.
air quality in the entire world. And we must embrace that. We must embrace her wisdom. And we must embrace the fact that I wasn't born here. I'm not obviously Hawaiian, but I'm Hawaiian in my heart. And that's the thing that really is, you know, the first time I discovered Hawaii, it was like I found home.
Yeah, it's a magical island. This island, if Pele likes you, you stay. If Pele doesn't like you, you are out. And there are some people who just do not vibe with this island at all. And I feel there's a reason for that. And you know, I just want the good mana to be here on the island. So that is awesome to hear that you feel that it is possible that you know it's possible for the island to be zero waste, because especially being in the middle of the Pacific, I feel it's necessary for the islands to strive towards that, because if we can't live sustainably and if we can't be zero waste on these islands, then that means that we have to rely on other places to take care of that waste.
Right, which obviously is not sustainable.
No, it's not sustainable.
So you know what you're doing is that it becomes a huge paradox. And what we need to do, we need to be the example. I mean, examples are everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, for me, like seeing Game Changers. I mean, I've been vegan, you know, decades. But the thing is that I'm strong. I can keep up with guys half my age.
Same here.
You know?
I did a hike in New Zealand. That was a 6-hour hike, and I did it just on 1 liter of orange juice, and
Yep.
that was it.
Yes.
Fresh orange juice. I
Yeah.
had it before I went, and I didn't have a need for any liquids during the whole time.
Thing. Yeah.
Went there and back, and the following day, no soreness in my
Right.
legs whatsoever.
Right. So it's, you know, to me, we become living proof, and that's just it. I mean, a lot of people will,
Oh yeah.
you know, will say, you know, you need protein, you need this, and I'm thinking, my God, you know, I have no idea what you're talking about, because to me, what you're talking about is pure fantasy. I'm reality. I know it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't need glasses. I got all my hair. You know, you know, you're just really looking at an example of what you truly believe in. And, you know, and of course, you know, you get little stuff going on with your body and things. I mean, you know, my thing is that I'm perfectly imperfect in an imperfect world, and that's my perfection, is my imperfection. And,
Yeah.
and so it's as if this life that we lead, I mean, where else would I want to be? I mean, come on, this is it. This is my paradise that I want to preserve and to save and to reflect and say, you know, when I travel somewhere, people say, "Where are you from?" And I say, "Hawaii." And they say, "How come you're here? You know, why did you leave? You know, why would you leave?" And, you know, and it's true. I mean, I don't want to leave.
It's a beautiful, beautiful island.
Yeah.
So just to kind of, I guess, wrap things up. So you're working to basically bring back the recycling here on the island, but the true recycling in the form of reducing and reusing
It's reduction
well
as recycling. But the thing is that reduce your carbon footprint.
Yeah.
You know, reduce it as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then you move on into the other aspects of what it is we are supposed to be doing here. You know, we first off, this is my universe.
Yeah.
Right here. I mean, my universe is just so phenomenal. I have trillions of cells. Every one of my cells knows what to do.
Yeah.
Each cell has an intelligence. Each cell has an integrity.
Mm-hmm.
The heart cell does not want to be a liver cell.
Mm-hmm.
The liver cell does not want to be a hair cell.
Yeah.
The skin cell does not want to be my nasal cell. It all works together in this wonderful harmonic sense of phenomenalism.
Yeah.
And we're all living miracles, and that's what we are. Life is a miracle. And so, and we have a homeostasis system, works 24/7. All it wants us to do, be healthy.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Now, Gemma, just for the people watching, is there like what do you think is like one simple step that people watching could take in their daily lives to kind of help them move along this path?
Well, you know, experience life, experience a plant-based diet, because a lot of people, you know, will say, "Oh well, I'm giving this up." You're not giving anything up. You are opening yourself up to just fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds that you can create anything with. I mean, you know, to like have a cow, to milk a cow, to have like literally thousands of gallons of water waste to make a gallon of milk. All you need is a handful of nuts, put it in a blender and blend it up, and you've got milk. You know, I mean, it's duh.
Yeah.
You know, it's just and if you want flavored milk, you could add cacao, add some kind of really cool sweetener to it.
Yeah.
You know, experiment,
Yeah.
and use your body. Be your own guinea angel. Try it.
I love how you said that, because that's exactly what I did way back 3.5 years ago when I first got introduced to a plant-based lifestyle. Is I decided to give it a shot because at the time there was one quote that I heard that really resonated for me, and that was, "Don't trust what I say, test."
Yes.
And so I decided to give it a test, and I did it for 3 months. Now, for many of you, 3 months might be a long time to go and test something. Do it for a month. Try it out. Try it out every weekend. Just get into maybe the habit of just trying it out, test it out, try different recipes out just for the sake of trying it, because that is where I feel your perspective will change, just like ours had. It may make a difference in your life and may make a difference in your health and to those around you. So yeah, I definitely am on board with you on that one about just giving it a try, because what's life without actually trying something out, about testing something out? Get curious about it, because that curiosity is what kids naturally have when they're little. Is they go and try everything. They'll eat dirt. and sure.
Dirt is amazing because dirt has SBOs, soil-based organisms. And you know what soil-based organisms are full of? Vitamin B12.
So, okay, and this is something that I get asked a lot too, about people who transition into this. Well, how do you get your vitamin B12? Because B12 is apparently only found in select amounts of meat and
well, and if you go across the board, you will find that as many meat eaters as well as vegans or vegetarians may or may not be deficient in it. So,
yeah.
So that's the bottom line. I mean, the whole B12 thing is a full-blown, farce.
Mom, you're hearing this because you have this argument with me as well, right?
Yeah, and I do supplement with a liquid sublingual B12.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that maybe 3 times a week.
Okay.
I'll just remember to go take a squirt, take it under my tongue, and and I'm feeling good. And I also supplement myself with a food yeast, not the kind that's fortified. I buy a yeast that is it's rather than yellow in color, which is all that fortification stuff. It's plastic, basically. I mean, that's what it is. And I buy a yeast online that is not fortified, but still it has the full range of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and all those things that your body can absorb, assimilate, and utilize.
Man, it has been awesome talking with you this whole time. Thank you so much, brother.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure meeting you and chatting with you. So like Randyl said, go test it out. Try it out for yourself and see if it's something that vibes with you. And just have fun during the process. I mean, if you fall off the bandwagon, so what? Just get back on it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. That was a little bit of a biting my tongue moment. But hope you enjoyed that. And we'll catch you next time for another interview.
All right.
Have an awesome day, night, wherever you are.
Aloha.
Catch you later. Aloha.